I just want to make an announcement that what we're doing right now, every town board we have, we're going to meet a half hour earlier, 5:30 here, 5:30 in town hall for a work session. It allows us as a board to talk among ourselves and work out things, because we can't talk to each other if there's more than two of us here. That's a quorum. So this allows us to talk and discuss certain things here. If you hear us talking, you can come close and listen in, or you can sit there. Because what we're discussing here in the work session, we can discuss out here. We're just getting a direction. Okay? I am Mike Bombs.
Diana Klein.
Okay, Joe LeCondre is not here. I think he's stuck in Canada.
Because how many meetings can you miss?
He's an elected official, so in order for him to be removed, it has to be done by court. Okay. All right, the first thing to do, I make a motion to open up public comment number one.
A second.
Seconded. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Got a question to ask you. If you're all here speaking about the battery plant, the BESS plant, the lithium-ion plant, would you mind waiting till public comment number two? Because we're going to discuss this during here, and our discussion here and our resolution here might go along with what you want.
Answer some questions.
Right. So in other words, we'll get that first in the online, getting that done here, and then in the second session, you want to speak, you can. Because a lot of your answers that you're going to ask us now, or a lot of the questions you're going to ask us are going to be answered in our discussion.
But people can comment on it because it is on the agenda.
Yes. Okay, you have the,
Carol Strachici.
Good evening, everyone.
Just say your name and where you live.
Carol Stracuzzi. I live at 314 Station Road in Hurley,
Thank you.
at Gallows Hill Park. I've lived there for the past 17 years. I'm a first
can you
responder.
do me a favor, can you speak, get closer?
Maybe pull it down a little bit. Is it on?
It's on.
I'm a member of East Kingston Fire Department. I just recently retired as captain of fire police. I was asked to speak about the safety and the conditions of the roads at Gallows Hill. The conditions of the roads are horrific, starting from the bottom of the hill, going up to the park. The hill is not wide enough for an engine, an ambulance, going up or down if there is another vehicle going the opposite way. Absolute safety issue. During the school year, there is nowhere for parents who have school-age children to park. The bus stop is at the bottom of the hill. Thank God, so far there has been no emergency during the time where parents are either dropping off or picking up their children. Because if there was, whether it be a medical emergency or a fire, somebody's going to get hurt or die. It's an absolute safety issue. Absolute safety issue. There was a mobile home fire up there, I think 2 or 3 years ago. The roads weren't as bad as they are now. It took 3 minutes for that trailer or mobile home to be fully engulfed. 3 minutes. Time is of the essence when there is a medical emergency or a fire emergency. Absolute matter of time. If there are cars parked on the hill, or if the road, the potholes, the apparatus are going to be damaged, and it's going to cost a lot of money for these fire departments to have their vehicles fixed. A lot of money. The roads are horrendous, horrendous. With the amount of the potholes, once the roads are eventually, hopefully, going to be paved and fixed the correct way, I have no idea what has to happen for this to happen. There is no reason that the buses cannot come up to the top of the hill and drop off and pick up students at the mailboxes. That would be a wonderful thing to happen for all involved, as far as people with children. My children are adults, so it's not my issue for that. But that would be the best resolve. As for people parking on the hill, the hill is not wide enough for two cars, let alone people parking along the one side, waiting for the buses to come.
Okay, Carol,
It's
can I stop you a second? That's another topic we're gonna discuss today also.
Okay.
All right, so if you don't mind, like,
I'm
just-
good, that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Yeah. I just like that one important point, 2 minutes maximum, speaking please.
Frank Snyder?
That's me, but I ain't talking.
Okay.
We didn't know that, we thought we had got one signage.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. Does
Does,
Doris, did you offer one talk?
And it's Snyder, S-N-Y, not S-C.
Okay.
Does Dorothy want to talk?
That's me, no, I thought I had to sign in, sorry.
And what about Yvonne Els?
We thought they were signing in too.
Oh, you good?
Leanne Els?
That's me.
Sissy Quick?
I thought it was signed in also. I'm sorry.
We got you
That's
guys,
okay.
we got you guys well trained, don't we?
Joe Puglisi? Joe Puglisi?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Those are the only people who signed up?
Does anybody else wish to speak?
I signed up.
My name is Lynn Bailey, I live at Walton Lane, and I just wanted to briefly talk about the transfer station.
That's another topic we can discuss.
I know you are, that's why I'm talking about it. It's on the agenda. So I just want to say how much that a lot of us love using the transfer station, and that I just think an adjustment of the price per ounce will help balance this, and I hope to see some kind of analysis so we can determine what that is. I realize that the impetus for starting the transfer station was to keep it a balanced thing, but I also think it serves a very useful purpose in the town regarding recycling and other processes that are going on for zero waste, etc. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak? Okay, I make a motion to close the first public comment period. All right, all in favor? Okay. All right, now we have the minutes that have been put on the past 3 months. There's like,
This is May 27th.
right. All right, have any discussion on the minutes? Anybody read them? Anybody want to approve them? I read the minutes. There's a couple of typos in there that we can correct, as opposed to,
Just let me know if
yeah. All right, I'll let you know what the typos are and so forth. But I believe everything what I'm looking at is corrected, the amendments were put in over there. Okay, any discussion on this? I make a motion to accept, now, what minute are we talking about? How far are we going?
Well, we have May 27th, we have June 10th, we have June 16th, we have the special meeting on June 20th, we have the workshop meeting on July 8th, and the special meeting on July 15th.
Yeah, please, guys.
I can only approve the ones that was here. But you don't have to be.
You can approve it, you can still approve it.
Yeah, I need to approve it.
You can, you can, you can still approve it. Okay, I make a motion to approve all of those minutes.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So be it. All right, supervisor report. All right, first of all, you all have, you got some budget, and these are budget versus actual vouchers. Here. Also, this year. Approve it. Funds, capital funds are here also. All right, I guess this one's very important, the one that has the budget versus the actual vouchers, telling you how much is left over and so forth from the budget itself. Okay. This is actually, this was actually here, given to you at the last meeting. You know, so, okay, so my question is acceptable? These are all repeats, I've asked, I sent this out last time, I asked you guys to look at it, any comments on these?
But Debbie got a good point, when it shows you 28% left, and we're only 7 months into the year, that has to be twice.
Yes,
Yes.
and so, like a projection, I'm still uncomfortable that we don't have a projection, even if it's just a rough projection
Well, put it
of
this way.
where we're gonna land.
We still, out of the budget we have here, yeah, it's 28% left, but most of the big ones have been paid already. They were paid in January, most of them.
So on the.
The only big bill we have later on is going to be the timing that comes in December. That's the only big bill that we have.
And do we have, big expenses, big, income coming in, like
We do, we have a mortgage tax coming in, we have a sales tax coming in, we also have our interest.
and that's not included in any of this stuff, okay, so that's where we.
In other words, what's happening?
New tax revenues that are put into this, you're still working off the budget. Correct. So the request is to approve the financials based on the financials, not based on what the future potentially will
So
hold.
that's where we may
We can sit, we can discuss those potentials, but
And don't forget also,
We would still do a projection based on.
don't forget also,
Knowing that what expenses we still.
well, here's the thing
But we
also.
can estimate, based on past.
I also have to say something too. Also, taking out of this budget that wasn't budgeted was the $225,000 in the, ambulance service, EMS. All right, we only had a tax, we put it to special tax district, went to $225,000. The agreement was that the town would supply the other $225,000.
And I thought that was coming out of capital or something.
Not capital, but then reserves.
Coming out of reserves.
So
Right.
it's not coming out.
It's still coming out.
So it's not coming out of the budget, our base
initially,
budget.
you have to pull it out of your general.
Right.
And then we'll
then-
backfill, okay. And we didn't do that yet.
No.
We've done none of that.
Okay.
Well, what we've done right now
You would
is,
do a resolution in order to present.
what we've done so far is we've given the $225,000, we collected it as a tax district. They've gotten that. In September, they will get their only $225,000.
Which we have to take that out of the
Comes
budget.
out of the budget
There's a big.
and comes out of the reserves.
That's not-
So it's not on there, so that's another thing coming through. What's the matter? You and I talked about something else that I had to talk about at this meeting. Recall? All right, okay, what comes now? Okay, all right,
So
financials.
we're gonna get one of these every month.
You're gonna get one, yeah, this is just impartial. We're gonna, does that say anything?
She wrote, it's not out yet, we still have to take it out. The 225 gave us the collect extra tax.
Okay, all right, financials okay?
Yes.
Make a vote, wow. These are partial financials, we don't make finance still in the month, so this is just to get you guys looking at it. Doesn't have to be approved, because we can approve it, a fully one at the end of,
I would say yes.
I would recommend that.
okay. All right. Okay, next thing is, John, recreation report.
Updated recreation, so our meeting is this Monday, the 18th at 6:30, all are welcome. On the agenda will be the Hurley Day events. Right now, currently we have Radio Woodstock, we have the food truck, we have boards and committees that are gonna be there describing the different things that they do and provide to the town, as well as a bunch of our first responders, both county, state, and local municipalities. And then there's the potential of some entertainment, a band essentially. So I will be bringing forth an expense for the Radio Woodstock. We're currently kind of trying to work it out to see what promos they'll do for us based on the fact that they're around town. So that's kind of a negotiation thing still going on between them and I. The park updates, we have the water test came back, everything is palatable for the most part.
It's drinkable.
Mike, you can explain that to your,
Well, what it is, yeah, the water was tested with an environmental lab down in Newburgh, and it came back, everything was normal. Sodium content is a bit high, but nobody's gonna drink continually out of that fountain, so it's okay. And also, the boron and manganese ratio together is a little high, all right? However, that just makes the water hard water. I don't presume anybody's gonna take a shower in the water fountain, you know, so you won't get any sun with that. All right, so everything's fine. I contacted Tim Rose, I should say, from Water Fowl. He said the water's fine, it's drinkable at the park. So, we have contacted Jeff Lowe?
yeah, so we have loud plumbing, we're still gonna put in a UV light, so we will still be taking care of any other, traces of anything that potentially could come through, bacteria. So that is still gonna happen. We have a water fountain which has the ability to fill your bottles. All the signs are in. We were gonna put them up today, but time ran short. So I'll be doing that over the next week and weekend. And then moving forward, we're still waiting for some estimates for the outfield, infield, things of that nature. I do have an electrician that's supposed to be coming out with a bid to run the electric. The highway department has gracefully given us the ability to trench over the next couple weeks, so that's gonna save tax dollars, quite a bit. Thank you, Mike, and you guys up there at the highway. And then the last thing we're gonna be speaking about again is getting ready for our senior soups, which takes place in January, February, March. So when I have the meeting, we'll be going through that. So,
John, just one question. So each one of these events, how are you projecting to deal with staffing?
well, for the most part, anybody that's a committee or board member, they're going to be presenting themselves, they're bringing their own tables and such. I do have 5, maybe 6 board members that'll help us that day. Not board members, you all, but well, great if
We're all
you
gonna,
help.
right?
But the recreation board, in reference to that. We're not expecting it to be, again, a very large turnout to the point where we have hundreds of people. So we're still in that part. Honestly, like I told Mike and Deb, this coming year, January, this is something that I really would like to put the hat on and go full bore at. And then maybe reduce some of my responsibilities.
I'm sorry, what was the date?
The 18th of September, this is coming Monday.
13.
Date of Hurley Day, you mean?
I'm sorry, September 13th, Saturday, September 13th, yeah.
What are the times?
10 to 2. 10 to 2. Everything is on the website. We've been doing a lot of social media blasts, so, but you're welcome to, call and inquire. Anybody interested, come on down.
What time is the meeting?
6:30.
Okay,
And I try to keep it under an hour, I promise.
Was it 6 o'clock instead of 6:30, or you?
We moved it to 6:30. 6 was a little tough for everybody.
I knew it was a different time.
Mike Schultes, you wanna talk about the highway department? Anything you wanna say?
We're just still plugging away with minimal crew members because of PTO, which is paid time off. So we have about half the crew for the last few weeks, but we're getting things done. Put up a couple of stop signs. We paved, we paved Old 28, put 1,000 tons down in that nice warm weather last week, and we're back on Joy's Lane going at it. So we'll continue to move forward.
When are the trucks coming? The 2 new trucks? The 2 new trucks, when are they coming?
The 2 other ones?
Yes.
They're down at the upfitter in Ellenville, so I expect him to bring them in the shop in a couple of weeks. We're gonna go down there and go over with them, make sure that they get built exactly how we want them.
Okay. You're gonna actually surplus 2 other trucks?
Yep, once we get all the trucks in, we'll surplus. A couple of them we've already taken out of service. And also, I don't know if you told the board that we had a little incident yesterday where one of our trucks was going down to get stoned, and a lady come up on the ramp on Sawkill Road and went across 3 lanes and slammed into the side of the truck. The truck was doing 55 miles an hour. Thank God that she hit both wheels and it didn't pull her under the truck. Didn't do hardly any damage to the truck, but wiped her car out. It's pretty scary. And
And
that's
she
why
was
we have
okay?
videos in all the trucks to show that we're not at fault, so.
Was she hurt? Was she hurt?
Nope, her airbags didn't deploy. It was a 2023 Mercedes. And, she just came up out of the ramp and just went right over, right into him. And, thank God everybody was safe and everybody was good. But those cameras pay for themselves on issues like that.
So speaking of that, I had asked to put on the agenda to consider putting the same thing in the town trucks, in the town vehicles, our town vehicles. In the GPS and the cameras, to protect us as well. Same thing that they have in the highway trucks.
In the budget.
And I mean, it may not be till next year, but just for discussion.
All right, I don't see any board member, any committee members here? Sharon, would you like to speak about some of the projects that are going on in CAC?
Well, the CAC is continuing to work on the NRI. We got the draft together of the narrative. That was a big job, and, Greg Potential did a ton of work to get the maps together, so we have an amazing set of maps to go with the NRI. So now, Ansonia is doing their work. They're going out and looking at some of the places that looked like they might have special habitats that we might want to, catalog in the NRI. So they're doing that. And our job right now is just to finalize the draft, going through and making edits and so on. And then the next step will be, I think, to present to the board and others to get feedback and input. So that's where that is.
By the way, the NRI grant that was secured by the CAC was for $35,000 to study natural resources in the town of Hurley. And that's gonna be included into the comprehensive plan when that is done by the end of the year. Okay? Somebody else here? Okay. All right, next up is the new highway facility. All right, we have John Brust from Delaware Engineering.
John, which one do you want on to?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
John, you can twist that thing in the middle there.
Or you can bend
Unlock
down.
it and go up, yeah. Twist the other way,
Lefty loosey,
yeah.
ready, Tony? Okay. All right, good evening. The town board hired us exactly a year and a half ago to start the process of locating a property for a highway garage, developing a concept for that, an initial cost estimate, going through the environmental permitting processes, including seeker, and then during the process, when we developed location for the facility, which is at the town park on Dug Hill Road. We then went through what's called an alienation process, where the board passed a resolution desiring to alienate, I think it's 8 acres of town parkland, and at the same time substituting another 8 acres adjacent to the park into the park, so we have a no net loss of parkland. We then provided the state, the Senate, and the Assembly with those resolutions, and in New York State law, both the Senate and the Assembly have to concur that it makes sense to alienate that property, that parkland property, for the purpose of locating a highway garage. We've done all of that. The last board meeting that I was at, we presented the results of that alienation process. We got extremely good cooperation and help, both from our assembly person and our Senator Hinchy staff. So the process was very straightforward because of their help. The next step in that process, we've submitted a proposal to the board for this.
Let me just interrupt a little bit.
Yep.
The legislature passed the alienation bill. However, it's sitting on Kathy Hochul's desk right now for her signature.
Correct.
She has 45 days to sign it, otherwise it comes into law.
Yep. Yep. So it's programmatic, it will be signed, and you know, we can proceed with the next steps for that highway garage. That first next step is to hire us to do the actual design of the highway garage. We have thoughts on paper. We've been with Mike, with John Perry, with the supervisor, with the board members. We toured different facilities so we could cherry pick good ideas and come up with a facility that meets the needs of the town of Hurley. Right now, we're looking at a 14,600 square foot facility. Our proposal to the board lists some of the specifics that we've discussed, but the first step in the process, once we're hired to start the design, is to really, with Mike Schultes and with as many board members as is appropriate, really go into the nuts and bolts of that design work and then advance that design process. On a parallel track, we're going to have a series of activities which I've described here, and
Yeah, we got it. Oh, if the board got it, yeah, pretty efficient.
Is it just these?
Is that the July 17th one?
Yeah, yeah,
July
no.
17th.
August 12th.
yes,
August 12th.
yeah, yeah. So it should, what you have should match this.
Yeah.
All right. So the first step in the design process is to go through a lot of specifics, whether they be architectural, plumbing, mechanical, structural, civil, entranceways, aesthetics, landscaping. We have to do a septic system for the new facility. We have to develop a water system, and we have to do a stormwater pollution prevention plan. So we'll start on those design concepts, but on a parallel track, we'll put together, based on those details, we'll put together an overall project cost estimate. Now, that's really important because the board, the town, is going to need a bond to finance this. And as we always tell our boards, we only really have one bite at the apple. You do not want to go back out to the residents and say, oops, it's going to be another $1 million or something like that. So we'll be very detailed in our cost estimates. We'll provide the board with that total, and then we'll work with bond counsel, and we'll come up with what's called a maximum project cost. Now, Samara, could you go to that next spreadsheet?
That's on
Maybe it was before that. So for the public, what everyone always wants to know is, okay, sounds good. I know we need a new highway garage. Right now, the town is renting space, and I think it's around $90,000 a year, something like that. So it's a pretty high cost, and it really doesn't meet the town's needs. But how does this translate into a cost for the residents? Right now, what we're thinking is that when we get done with that detailed design and the detailed cost estimates, that we'll probably look at a $5 million long-term debt. Under a $5 million long-term debt scenario, with a 25-year usefulness of the building, and it'll last a lot longer than that, but the way these things are calculated based on the materials of construction, we will have to use a 25-year life factor on it. looking at 4% interest, which seems like a reasonable number. Hopefully, interest rates will come down a little bit, and so 9 months or a year from now, when we're talking about going out for the construction bond, will actually be less than 4%. If we borrowed $5 million, and we've got about 3,500 properties, and we have the average valued home right now is $350,000, would you believe? As that number has increased dramatically over the past 10 years. We're looking at a cost for the average value home of $57 a year if we borrow that $5 million. Now, we did this on our own, and then we confirmed our numbers with Brittany, and I think we were $2 off. Now, that's for a $5 million debt. The project, if one were to assume $550 a square foot, that's a $9 million project. If we had $5 million in debt, and the board has 1.5 in a reserve account, and we're not spending $90,000 a year, which can amortize another 1.5, we're up to 8. And then we're gonna go look for grant money and hopefully get to 9. And when I say and hopefully get to 9, that's why the bond has to be for 9 or 9.5, whatever the number we come up with. It has to be the total project. At the end of the day, the board does not have the intent to borrow $9 million. The board will borrow what it needs to borrow. It'll have permission to do as much as 9, but I guarantee you that the board is not going to do that. Brittany put some numbers together that looked at different debt scenarios. And so if you have a loan amount of $5 million, you're at that 57.78. A loan amount of $7 million, you're at $80 for the average valued house. When we do these projects, as long as we're under $100 a year, the public usually will accommodate going forward with the project. If it is $57, as we all know, that's barely a tank of gas, that usually works. If you did these numbers and it came up to $200 a year for the average valued house, well, then the project's probably not going forward, depending upon the community you're in. But when we see a number like 60 to 80, we know we're in a pretty good position. So, Samara, go back to the narratives, please. So, bond council will produce a bond resolution with the maximum project cost. We already have done seeker. So the board at some point in time, could be 90 days from now, the board will pass a resolution for a bond in the amount of, it probably will be 9 million, it could be 8.5, could be 9.5. We'll see as we get into the details. The notice for that bond is placed in the local paper. And then there is the opportunity for the public to respond either affirmatively or not. These bonds are subject to a permissive referendum. And that permissive referendum is 30 days. Assuming no petition for referendum, there's a 20-day estoppel period. And so it usually takes about 60 days to get through that process. We will time our work so that we're spending the minimal amount of effort until we get through that estoppel period. As I've been to board meetings, we've generally just had understanding that this town needs a highway garage. So my sense is that that there will not be a petition for referendum and that this can proceed in a straightforward manner, but we shall see. On page 2, I put in here that we recommend the first action is to take a 1-year non-callable ban for the value of all work to be done to get to bid and award of contracts. You already have money in escrow, you'll use that money, so you actually won't have to do that part. But after bidding, the board will then go and borrow the amount through a ban for what it will take to get through construction. we'll work with your fiscal advisor, we'll work with your bond counsel, and make sure that this all proceeds in a good way. That is the process. It starts with the board approving our proposal to do design work, work with bond counsel, and then we'll also help the board solicit construction contracts. We will go through whatever bids we get back and make sure that those bids are balanced and make sense. We'll also look through the resumes of the construction firms that submit bids, and we'll come back to the board with a recommendation to accept the lowest qualified bidder, or to not do that and go to step up, because go maybe to the next lowest bidder because of a history or something like that that either the town has or a particular contractor has that would cause us to recommend we go to the second lowest as opposed to the lowest. That process takes about a year. It should be quicker, hopefully, but we always allocate about a year to go through the process. And we'll work with Mike and with the board and just advance it in a very iterative, prudent way.
Yeah, I just want to add something to it also, like what you said before about $90,000. What's happening basically is, at this time right now, we are spending $90,000 a year on the basement road garage. All right, once the garage, highway garage is built and we move over there, we're gonna be saving $90,000 from that. So in other words, yes, we are most likely, in my discussion with John Perry, probably go for a $7.5 million bond, which would be about $80 per household, average.
Yes,
Right.
that's right.
But the thing is though, that what's happening also is the budget itself, that we use for taxing, the levy itself, will go down by at least $90,000.
Yep.
No one will need that $90,000. So in the end, the realization is that the garage may just cost $5 billion, up to $5 million. In a sense, it's that aspect of it.
Correct.
And also, the bond itself is a line of credit. We only pay interest on what we are using. All right, so whatever we're using, that's the interest that we're paying on, not on the whole bond itself.
Correct.
All right. I know the fact that, looking at the garage I'm in right now, it's in the town of Kingston, it's not a good garage at all. This is gonna be a top-of-the-line garage, obviously coming through it. John Perry is gonna go through details with you, nitpick this and that, remove this, add this, and so forth, to make it down where it's less money in a sense of going through there.
That's correct. And what we'll try to do in our bid documents is we'll have some alternates, and those alternates effectively give us a little bit of an off-ramp. So you may want to include an extra large parking lot. We'll say, okay, let's have that as alternate number one. You may want to have, as part of the project, a solar system, a ground-mounted solar system, all right? Alternative number two. If the bids come back and we have enough money in the budget, knowing that at the end of the day, we want to wind up with with $5 million in debt, then we'll have some off-ramps to utilize.
So can I ask a question about this math? You said that we're gonna save $90,000 a year?
Once we move into the garage, once we move in.
So what are we gonna be paying for the loan?
Well, you'll use that 90,000 to amortize some debt.
Okay. So really, so I guess what I'm asking, I mean, when you say 90,000 disappear, it doesn't disappear, it just goes into debt finance.
Correct. Instead of paying rent.
Since we're not paying rent, we're gonna be servicing a loan.
Exactly.
Okay, so just to be clear.
But the new debt,
That's our debt.
Right, that reduces the bond debt also then.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's kind of misleading to say that $90,000 is not going to be, it's just going to disappear.
Well, the $90,000 line for the highway garage right now is gonna be gone. That line will be gone.
Yeah, it will go, but we'll have another line that has debt servicing that's gonna include the $90,000.
Correct. But it's
Just
not-
so we're clear, okay?
Yeah, but, Greg, it's, that 90,000 is not part of that. You know, it reduces the amount of additional yearly payments.
Is that possible?
In other words, if we couldn't avail ourselves of that 90,000, let's say you were not paying rent right now, well, then we're gonna make up that $1.5 million.
Yeah, I understand, I get that, but to say that $90,000, we won't have to pay $90,000, that's not correct.
No.
Yes.
So I have
you're
to
right.
wait, is he gonna be here to answer questions at the end of the meeting?
If you want me to, sure.
No, yeah, you can answer questions, ask John.
Or no?
If the board, so the numbers that you showed, those are the numbers like without the 90,000?
Correct.
Okay, and the 90,000, that line item theoretically will be removed when the board avails itself of the lease of the garage that Mr.
Correct.
Ivy owns, okay.
Correct.
So that line item would shrink, and then they could, like, that money would be available because it's already levied theoretically, so the increase in levy would be the 250 minus, I saw 250 up there.
That's right.
As an annual payment, minus the 90, so 160. So what is the impact to the average household on that?
You know, this is showing that you're gonna have new debt,
Right.
Of
new
250 to
payments.
service, right.
That 90 is above and beyond that. You're still gonna be spending that 90. You're just not spending it on rent, you're spending it on retiring debt.
Right.
Right, so, no, but you're saying, right, but the new expenditure that the town will have to levy is not 250 a year. It's.
Yes, it could be 90 plus that.
Plus that.
Add 90 to that number.
Oh, you have 90 included?
No, I
in those-
don't.
Oh, no. So
No.
then,
Added to.
well, why would it be added to? If those numbers are whole for the bond cost of this project, right, at 250,000 in servicing a year,
Yep,
the 90 that you're not spending can be used towards this. It's not added to, it's subtracted from.
I use these
So it's
numbers.
160,
I
right?
use these numbers because this is
Right.
new cost
Sure.
to the average
I'm not arguing with
value.
you. I'm just trying to,
And Greg's
Ask
point is a
questions,
good
so-
one. I don't want to mislead anybody,
That's.
but what I'm looking at is new cost to the average home. The average home already shares that 90.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
So Mike so to be really clear, what you're saying is the bond servicing would be 340, but does that include overhead and expenses on top of?
you said the bond's 250.
Or is that just bond servicing?
We're adding the 90 to that.
I understand.
Oh, so that does, but I've asked,
Hold on, wait.
Because the total cost to the taxpayer is gonna be in the 340 for the bond. Yes, we already are spending 90,000, so we're adding an additional $250,000.
Exactly.
My question is, does that 340 include the overhead cost of heat, electric, or is that just bond servicing cost?
No, this is bond servicing cost.
So we're actually looking at closer to probably,
So you've got some additional costs in there. Although I asked Mike tonight, in the place you're renting, are utilities included? And he said, no, they're not. So you're paying for those utilities, whatever that cost is. And in this one, you're gonna be paying for those
but so
as
the
well.
reality is that the cost of having the highway garage, and I'm not saying
Yep.
I'm not in favor of it, but the cost
Yep.
of having the highway garage is gonna
Yep.
be in excess of $400,000 a year.
And if folks think that this was confusing, I apologize. My point is to say this is a new cost, and that new cost is approximately $60 if at the end of the day, we're netting out a $5 million debt.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with how it's being set up. I just want to be clear.
Yep.
That the $90,000 a year is not vaporized.
Yep.
It's going to be included. So one line item is gonna go, but that $90,000 is gonna go into debt servicing and whatever else.
It's gonna go into that.
so you're adding 250 and 90 together.
Exactly. So
Correct.
that's fine, but seems misleading to say that we won't have to deal with this $90,000 again. And that's the point
For
I'm trying to
that
make.
purpose,
I think it's perception, it's not.
Again,
That's a
our,
very important
yeah,
perception.
Greg's absolutely right. And again, the purpose of this was say this is additional new cost. That 90,000 that currently is shared by the residents of the town of Hurley will still be spent, and instead of being spent on rent, it'll be spent on debt. I could have put another spreadsheet together that would be more, would have more data on it. The bottom line would still come down to that $57. Yeah.
And John, I think, John, you're gonna be presenting again at the end of the month?
Say that again?
You'll be presenting again at the end of the month?
Yes.
So maybe you can bring that projection, and then we can bring,
Yep.
then we'll allow questions at that point.
Yep.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next one is Gallows Hill Park.
Good evening, everyone. I'm the operations director. My name is Keith Leibold. I work with the Affordable Housing Conservancy. I'm the operations director. I'm also a commercial developer and a contractor. The Affordable Housing Conservancy, I'll just give you a 30-second background on our organization. About 30 years ago, in the town of New Paltz, a group came together to form a community redevelopment housing organization. It's a charitable organization. It's called the Affordable Housing Conservancy. And we set it up originally as a corporate structure for community members to come in who had ideas to better the community. We've had everything from some local environmentalists come in with some ideas for grant funding and sources, to housing, preservation. And what this is a nonprofit corporate shell that a group of businessmen in the community set up to help further the goals to preserve affordable housing and other acts of social good. We've funded food pantries, we've done community build projects, and as the years have gone on, the organization has gotten a little capacity and horsepower. We're not large administratively. We keep a very low overhead. And when opportunities arise, we staff up. Like recently, there was some opportunities to do weatherization, and the state gave us $5 million. We weatherized 500 homes, and we spun back down. Very successful program. Now they want to give us 10 million more. We're currently finishing Harmony Hall in the village of New Paltz, which is a 51-unit, $30 million project to build affordable senior housing. We worked for a number of years with Tim Rogers and the local community, found a location that they were open to, and were able to work with local stakeholders and create some really lovely affordable housing, including some units for extremely poor seniors that we were able to acquire vouchers for to get their rent paid. This particular project, the Gallows Hill Park, was brought to our attention several years ago. We started looking at the project. Most everybody here knows of it. They know the condition of it. They know it needs a lot of love and care. And originally we looked at this, and there were some federal grant opportunities that, again, somebody came to us. We used the corporate structure. We hired a grant writer. We went after some grants. We were not successful. We then went to the county government, Dennis Doyle, as the planner, and said, Dennis, this needs help. What do you recommend? He sent us up to Albany. They sent some folks down. We took a tour. They said, okay, here's what we can do for you. And the state stepped up with $8.5 million. The county has stepped up with $400,000. And we're hopefully going to be able to close on what will be Hurley's first regulated affordable housing. We're a community. And the great thing is, the folks are already living here. Most everybody in this development qualifies under this particular program, which is a middle income program, 80% of state median, up to 120% of median in certain cases. And the state felt it was an important project, and the county supported us in it. We have been to the local communities, and so far have gotten support from the towns. The project itself is going to involve mostly infrastructure. We're going to work on safety first, so it's roads, water, and sewer. There is a lot of pipe replacement that needs to happen. There's a lot of deferred maintenance that needs to happen. Things like, and then there's secondary community amenities like maybe a new mailbox structure, maybe some landscaping improvements. We're going to add some solar to offset some costs. We're going to put new site lights in around the park, so it's not totally dark. They're dark sky compliant. They'll work well in the setting. But so if someone's walking, you might be able to see them. So they'll be low light, but it'll be enough to help promote safety. So that's what we've got right now. We're going to rebuild the sewer plants. We're going to drill new water wells. We're going to put a new water storage tank in. And then we have a number of ancillary items as well. New paving, speed bumps, some new equipment for the maintenance staff there. And we have a bunch of engineering that's going to happen as well. But go ahead.
You have 8.9 million?
Yeah, the total project cost is 10.9, I believe. There's 3.5, this is in round numbers, million for acquisition. There's a $5.2 million construction budget. There's some capital. We have to capitalize the maintenance reserves. When the state puts money in, they want to see capitalized accounts for operations. So there's some reserve accounts that they'll want set up for ongoing maintenance and operations. And there's various soft costs to administer the state money. The good news is that we call it the golden handcuffs. The states want to come down and give you the money, but they're like, so what's the benefit to the residents? The benefit to the residents is they cap the maximum amount of rent that can be charged. It was $689 per month per pad. This year it went up. Most of the residents, it went up to $720. Most of the residents are paying in the mid to high 600s to low 700s for their lot rent. If they're paying less than the maximum, the lot rents can only go up 3% a year. If they're paying more than the maximum, the rents have to come down to the maximum. So some people are going to pay less. Some people will pay a little bit more as we adjust the rents up. They do allow for a slightly higher rent increase, but it's only with state approval, and you've got to approve an event, some event that warrants like a 5% increase. 6% is the absolute maximum. I've only seen them improve more than 3% a couple of times, and it was justified. That's basically the project in a nutshell. I'm happy to, and we've come tonight asking for the town support by means of a pilot. And the pilot we're asking for basically freezes the taxes that the park is paying now, and then fixes an increase for 2% a year as a fixed increase. It would exclude things like your town garage improvement if you bonded that separately, by the way. That's just, that's a carve out. So if that were to be something the town engaged in and that per house payment came in, we would pay our share of that improvement. It does, however, pilot all of the operating local jurisdictions, the school, the county, and the town.
And you said the hybrid garage, what about like the ambulance, the lighting districts, the libraries? John and I were speaking, it seems like we read that those are exempt, so if, let's say, for
They're
example,
exempt. The
lighting
operating
went up
is
by
exempt.
5%,
Yeah.
you would have to.
If you did an improvement project, and this property was in that, in the district of that improvement, the property would have to pay.
It's like let's say an ambulance district, they would make.
Yeah, so let's say you wanted to build a new ambulance building and you had to float a bond for that. We would contribute to that
To
bond.
that.
Yeah. And the reason why we're doing that, of course, is because we have a limit as to how much we can increase the lot rent. And it's gotta be a provable increase. I just can't increase people's rent. It goes up to the state, they look at it and they say, yeah, no. We've had developments where they haven't allowed us rent increases in years. And then we've had developments where they give us one every year.
So each one of those poses that, okay, so you're putting in new infrastructure.
Yes.
There's going to be an increase, or it seems like there's going to be an increase, some kind of increase to the pad rental fee.
Yeah, the current rent structure is set at what everybody pays now. If they're under the 720, if they're over the 720, we lowered their rent down.
So are you going to be, so the houses that are there now, I know
Yes.
aren't in really great condition, what is going to take?
Some of them are in good condition, some of them are not. The original grant we went for was to replace all of them. That was under the Biden administration. We're told they're gonna open that up again. We got a lot of good technical feedback. If they open it up, I'm gonna go again. We just missed, out of the entire country, we were 7 out of, they offered 5. We were number 7 on the list, and they gave us some good pointers of what we would need to do. It's the poster child for that particular program. The state does have a program for, under the home guidelines. It's funded yearly. You have to get in, they'll give you a couple a year. It's gonna be for people who are at the lower end of the income stream. If you're at 60 to 80% of median, I can apply with someone on their behalf for a replacement unit there, and the state will provide, depending on the conditions, sometimes it's a forgivable grant, sometimes it's a zero interest loan. Depends on the circumstances. So this is gonna take us a hot minute, so we're gonna come in and we're gonna work on the health and human safety stuff first in the roads. Probably gonna be there 8 to 10 months doing everything we need to do. While we're there, we're gonna work with Dorothy and Joe, who've been doing a great job managing the facility on crumbs. We're gonna give them a little extra money, they're gonna be happy. And then we're gonna inventory who we have here, the condition of the units, what can be done easily. Some of the buildings just need to be washed, so we actually have a budget to do some deferred maintenance, even if it's not a park home unit, where we might be able to clean some of the units up we've got some retired folks in there, we've got a bunch of deferred tree trimming that needs to be done, we've got drainage that needs to be repaired. So we're gonna try to generally just get things cleaned up, get the health and human safety stuff done, and then start looking at each particular, building that's there and see if we can match some assistance with each of the folks that are there. If we do get new weatherization money, that'll be great, because then we can then come out and offer weatherization services to the residents there, which would be phenomenal. We can replace
Can I interrupt
furnaces
a
and
second?
such. Yes.
I just got a message here that there's a Ford pickup truck actually blocking the ambulance bay, it should be moved.
Somebody has a Ford pickup truck blocking the ambulance bay. Please move it.
The deferred maintenance that you mentioned, that's included in that, whatever, 8.5?
Yeah, so we have like a miscellaneous budget they let us put in to do deferred maintenance, yeah. For the individual residents, for the park itself, there's a bunch of deferred maintenance, that's all covered. Yes.
And then once you get that all done, how are you going to upkeep the conditions 2 years from now? Like, where's?
So yeah, when the state, the state can't give you money unless you have a development that can be maintained within a set of guidelines that they put out. It wouldn't be fiduciary of them to give you dollars for a development you can't maintain. So what dictates the amount of money they give you is actually their own guidelines for your operating budget. So they've given us enough money to operate this park in a way that we believe is good and healthy. There's also reserve accounts. There's an operating reserve that I think is 1.5% and a 3% repair and replacement reserve we have to do. They've also given us a little room to improve the income there long-term by completing some units that are currently vacant. And that money will further enhance the revenue to the park and allow us some room on the maintenance side. They've been a little generous allowing us to do that because they know there's going to be some longer-term care and maintenance items we need to stay on top of.
We also, when Hector Rodriguez came to us and presented this program to us, there was also a discussion of putting in modular homes, moving the people into a temporary
Yeah,
home.
so originally with the price grant, it involved resident relocation where the federal government was actually going to allow us to put in all new units that were all electric Energy Star units, and just a few families at a time relocate them, replace their units, and then locate them back into a new unit. Again, unfortunately, that was unsuccessful, but what that did allow for was the state to step up and give us the money they did.
Are you still working on it, though? You said it's
If they open another roundup, yeah, I went for TA assistance. I mean, it's a great program that we want to utilize here as a start, but there's a number of these that could use some help.
So basically, what you're saying with this pilot program there, you're improving the infrastructure
Correct,
of Galveston.
yeah.
But I think there's more than that. So, if I may, growing up in low-income housing with a single mother who worked her butt off to do better, was able to go buy a mobile home in a trailer park that was owned by a private entity, private person. One of the worst water districts in the United States are in trailer parks. Everybody here that has West Hurley Water that deals with the situation that we deal with, you know how privatized water is. This is a situation now, you have regulations, you have a company coming in that has to state mandated to do certain things. You no longer have a private entity to potentially provide, I don't wanna say slumlord type conditions, but they have to provide a certain level of assistance to these folks continuously moving forward. This is a situation, more than just money, it's about people and infrastructure to help those people move forward with their lives and better themselves. I think you all should think about that, not just the money.
You know, it's,
If you look at the money side of it,
But you have to.
we have to, at this point right now, between the taxes coming in, that we get from Gallows Hill is $7,835 annually. What we can see, what we can see getting basically is almost up to about $22,000, $23,000. We're getting, according to what I have here, this, what Brittany gave us, it's like $8,000.
A year,
A year.
for all of those.
You said 12,000.
This doesn't include your tax.
The
Is it all the parcels?
the 12, no, for the Gallus, just for
Two
the,
parcels.
there's, part of this is Town of Ulster,
Black Bear Park, yeah.
Black Bear Park.
There's two parcels on the
Yeah.
front side.
Yeah, there's,
There's three.
Hector, I believe there's 12,000 and change, but that includes the county share.
Yes.
And then the school district, of course, gets the majority of the taxes. We're also speaking with the local, to his point, we're also speaking with some local foundations and the county of Ulster to try and get money for the entrance road to basically widen and rebuild that entrance road so that we can get emergency service vehicles up there better, school buses up there.
So your work doesn't include the road that goes up?
Yeah, what we have in the budget currently is to repair the drainage and repave that entrance road. But that's only part of the problem, and I was talking to the highway superintendent who was here, because the road needs to be 10 feet wider, and it needs velocity brakes for the water that comes down. There's a lot of work that needs to be done there. We only own exactly 20 feet. We've been talking with the adjacent property owners, trying to appeal to them to give us or sell us something. So far, one was absolutely no, and the other individual we're working with to try and see if we can get that property.
So basically, the road we're talking about, that's there, it's only, I think, 20 feet wide?
Yeah, we actually, yeah, it's a
I know, I
deeded
know.
parcel,
But
yeah.
that's a private road, it's not a town road.
It's currently a private road. We would like to be able to bring it up to town specs and
We're not planning on, you turning over all those roads?
No, the internal roads we would keep. We're just looking for that hill and the turnaround. We'd make a proper turnaround at the top for school buses, fire trucks, et cetera. And then maintain the ownership of the interior roadways. If you'd like to help advocate with the county, that'd be great.
Absolutely. All right. You can try, yeah. Work with the county, get that done. But you're still in negotiations with the adjacent landowners?
We are. We have the person who owns the property on the downhill side of the road has been open to dialogue, so. Yeah. We really wanted the uphill piece because it's a small sliver. It's really not good for anything. And that owner is just not interested in selling for some reason.
Is there an alternative plan if you don't get that piece of property to widen the road?
We don't own, we own what we own, so, yeah, the best we can do is, I actually asked the highway superintendent if he'd meet me up there to see how he thinks we could best manage the drainage with what we currently own. Because we do have some funds set aside for it, and then if we can get that lower property, hopefully we could expand that road by 10 feet, add a buffer, put up a guardrail.
Okay. Anything else yet? Greg, anything else to say? Diana? All right, thanks, Keith.
Thanks so much. I would say we're scheduled to close this
We're gonna
before the end of the
vote on
month.
it today.
Great, thank you so much.
There is a deadline that they need to get this all done by the 20th of August. Our next board meeting is the 26th. So, this is something they would like for us to, vote on today, as we accept the pilot. Any further discussion on the board? All right. We go to the, resolution?
You wanna vote on it now?
I'm sorry, say again?
Are you gonna vote on, you want us to vote on it now?
One question, Keith.
Yes.
If we vote no, hypothetically, how does that affect, also, town of also on their side?
Well, they've already approved the
I
pilot.
know they have,
Yeah,
but is it worthwhile for you to do their section and our section? If we said no, for example?
well, I mean,
Your grant probably has to have both sides, I would assume.
it just makes a statement about local support that the board's free to do what they'd like to do. But it would, it'd be a lot more difficult for us to get funds from the county or,
All right, thanks, Keith.
Thanks.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay, all right,
Can we have the public speak on this grant, since we did a presentation before we vote?
I think so,
Yeah, you have to let them.
If there's anybody here, if anyone wants to speak on this matter, you're entitled to come up right now and speak. Even those people who
I'll
said.
stand right here, but honestly, we need this. As a resident,
Can I ask you a question here? How many people here are residents of Galveston? That's why you're here.
Ellisville and Black Bear.
All right,
yes,
all right.
it's Gallows Hill and Blackbird Hill.
Just so you know.
And how many of you guys support it? No, raise your hands if you're from that area. All right?
And there would have been more here if they
Okay,
didn't have.
so how many people don't support it?
Don't support
Do
it?
not.
At this point, we can't even drink our own water.
Right.
We pay
we buy
No,
it,
yeah,
we
yeah,
have
yeah,
order
yeah.
delivered.
Yeah, here's the thing, understand one thing was, one of the things, that our main goal, one of our main goals here is to have affordable housing. At least affordable housing. You know, you have to live there, make sure that when you're living there, that you're not harmed by living there. So I think what this project is doing, in my opinion, is gonna benefit.
Oh, absolutely. We are all in favor.
Mike, I've surveyed the entire area up there, and like, owning a vehicle up there must be incredibly, yeah,
All right, hold on.
the roads are crazy.
I'm part of the Hurley Fire Department, and I drive the ambulance and the rescue trucks up there. It is absolutely horrendous and it is not safe.
Thank you. We got kids, grandkids.
I might have to read the whole thing.
Just read the top part.
Okay, so I'm gonna motion this resolution authorizing the execution of a payment in lieu of tax pilot agreement by and among the town of Hurley, Gallows Hill Park Housing Development Fund Corporation, HDFC, and Gallows Hill Park LLC Company. Do I have a second?
So, what did,
Discussion.
yeah,
discussion.
Matt, what did Matt include about this?
All he said was up in town. He saw
Oh,
nothing
really?
wrong, he saw, the only thing that he questioned here was the 40 years, the pilot.
Hmm.
All right.
Okay.
I just read the pilot, but he came through. He saw this, he saw the.
Did Matt write an opinion or just?
No, what happened was we
verbal?
had a pilot attorney that looked at the pilot, and he gave the approval for the pilot. We didn't hire a pilot attorney, and so we hired the same pilot attorney that Ulster had. And so,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and so he looked at this thing, he approved it, he's the one who approved, this is the exact same agreement.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember.
Well, you were aware of the fact that part of the agreement here is that we spent $1,200 for the pilot attorney, that we're gonna hand over the bill to you.
You're gonna hand me a bill?
I'm gonna give you a bill. Otherwise, you don't get our signature.
I just wanted to say the affordability period is 50 years with the county. It's 30 years, the initial is 30 years with the state. That's why the pilot agreement is set at 4 years. If at any time the affordability for some reason is violated, the pilot becomes null and void.
It's in here, it's in here.
I just
We have it.
read that.
Thanks. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
I had something to say, but I forgot.
Oh, it's okay. All right, well, that's all right. We can wait a minute.
I'm ready for a vote.
Are you ready? Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I would request
A roll call? We're gonna do a roll call. Mike Bobs?
I think,
I'll do that.
then you do it, you call.
Mike Bones,
Yes?
Diana Klein,
Yes.
Deb Doherty.
Yes,
Greg Simpson,
Yes.
Joe Latendra is absent.
correct.
Do a nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Many residents, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Of course.
Many thanks.
Out towards where the old home farm was there, right before you get there. There's a right entrance to the station, and it's like a little, there's like an old trail to the left, which is all this
Okay. We're gonna, Matt, I'm gonna call you tomorrow. Pick up the phone. Okay. All right, next thing. You got a motion too? You got a motion too? The next thing is a Wi-Fi grant. With the help of Tony Bonavis, we got a $10,000 Wi-Fi grant to upgrade the Wi-Fi service in Town Hall, which is, yeah. And not only that, Tony also worked with the fire department, getting a $10,000.
Yeah, they got $10,000 grant for the Hurley Firehouse.
Okay, so what do you do with $10,000
They're upgrading the equipment and connectivity and all of that stuff.
So it doesn't change the company you're using? No, it's just the equipment that you're using.
Is there Wi-Fi in the trucks
It's
now?
gonna prepare us for fiber optics.
No, it's in the building.
It's gonna
It's all
upgrade
in
us
the
in
building.
So we don't have outages that we have.
This is the, so we have.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks, Tony.
That was an easy one.
They are always.
Okay, the next thing here is the DOT. Tony, I'll talk to you afterwards about something. I'll talk to you afterwards about something.
Tell me about an additional 10
It's a firehouse. You got 2 grants.
The second.
The second grant is with the firehouse. Okay, the next thing is the Department of Transportation speed limits. You know, you think about the government, you realize like, everything you talk to them, you have to scratch your head. Like nothing, what they say to us makes sense. What we have tried to do, we put a resolution, 3 resolutions, to lower Route 209 from 55 miles out to 40 miles around to Wynkoop and Beesmer. Yes, Beesmer? Vessel Road, all right, to lower the speed limit in the town of Hurley, all town roads from 35 to 25, and to lower the speed limit around the school zone to 15 miles per hour. The first 2 we got rejected. The third one, they're hemming and hawing. The reasoning for rejecting the 209 is that there is a rule in the state code, TMSI 1507, I should say. And what it says basically, what is the speed limit, what is the 85th percentile of all speeders on US 209? And the answer is 59 miles per hour. And you can actually go and make a speed limit that's 5 miles lower or 5 miles higher than that. They chose to say at 55. My response was, if you lower it down to 45, for example, 40, you will lower the 85 percentile down there also. He goes to me, Lee Zimmer says to me, it makes a lot of sense, but the state won't allow it.
But they allow the speed limit to go down to Marltown and
They lowered the speed in the Marltown because of the congestion of houses, there was businesses there. Well, put it this way, Tim, I was scratching my head, I'm going, this doesn't make sense at all, what you're saying here. All right, the second thing is, we got a rejection also of lowering the speed limit from 35 to 25 in town. The exact same reason. In fact, when I looked at both letters, they were exactly the same letters, you just plugged in different numbers here and there. And the same thing there, that when they did a study in town of Hurley, 85 percentile is 37 miles per hour. So therefore, they're going to 35.
In our 30-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Yeah, so they can do that. So they did that kind of thing.
So in our neighborhoods, people on average are going 37 miles.
Well,
so more than 20%
Well,
over the speed limit.
they are. They somehow did it with drones. You know, hey, we didn't get bombed, did we? That's okay. But the thing is, though, they came up with this study here. To me, it makes no sense. When I talked to Lee Zimmer, who's the supervisor of these rules, more or less, he says this is a state law going through here. I said to him, if you lower the speed limit down in town roads, you know, you're gonna lower that 85 percentile also. He says no, because people drive to their comfort. So what he's doing basically is, he is actually rewarding the speeders. The thing he admitted also is that if we ever did lower it down there, there's no enforcement of it. There's not enough troopers, there's not enough sheriff's department to do that, and therefore people would just be laughing at us as they're speeding by. It doesn't make any sense, but then dealing with the Department of DOT, it's that way. Anyway, so I have the name and number of the director of the Department of Transportation I'm gonna be filing an appeal with her to lower this down, because I need to have, things that make sense to me. This does not make sense in one iota at all. And then what they're doing basically is they are just rewarding speeders coming through it. They're saying, in fact, if we lower it to 40 miles an hour, because of the comfort of speeders, they will still go 55 to 60. I don't think so. They don't do that in Marbletown for whatever reason. They don't do that down in Dartmouth. Right, I know. I understand it, but somehow they're saying the fact that they base it on the comfort of the motorist, more or less. And, I don't know. It really makes it's very baffling, but the response was. So we are in the process of appealing those two rulings. And then also, they are contemplating the ruling about speed zones around the school, around Myers Elementary. And anywhere else, if I look around, I see a 15-mile speed limit around schools. We ask the same thing, and they're saying, well, we're contemplating this. That should be no contemplation. That should be straightforward. You know, we're dealing with like young kids, more or less, walking to school.
I thought you was committed to lower the speed limits by 5 miles per hour.
You know what? The only municipalities that can lower speed limits are villages and cities. Saugerties has done that. Kingston has done that. Albany has done that. Hurley, we can't do it. So we got to declare ourselves a village.
I do believe Port William did it. I don't know, you might want to call them.
They're a village?
No, they're a town.
All right.
We're not done with this.
Yeah, and basically, we'll still continue working on this. Okay, the next thing is the transfer station. All right, question that, in 2025, this year, the UCRA, Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, which does our trash removal, has raised they have raised their tipping fees from $115 per ton to $135 per ton, plus they add an 8.5% surcharge, fuel surcharge to that. What they do basically is they will segregate, separate the trash out, then ship it up to Seneca Meadows in Seneca, New York. And so basically, so instead, our rate went up from $20 from $115 to $135, which is $20 plus an 8% charge there. It's like $21.60 added to that. To make matters worse, so what we did basically is that we just raised our permit fees for out-of-towners from $60 to $90. All right, and what we look over here basically is we see that we as a town have to break even. We have to break even. We should make money on this thing, not a revenue thing. And basically what it is, we should break even. And like years past, well, last year we broke even. This year we're about a little downhill. Projection basically shows that at this point right now we're $14,000 difference. However, but yes, but however, the reason why we're a little over because we spent $14,000 on a shed. That's over here. All right, so if we take that $14,000 out, and plus there's other things here too, we're about even coming to the way. Next year, we just got word that they're going to raise their tipping fees from $135 to $150. Yeah. If we lived in the city of Kingston, there'd be no raise. All right. We live in the town of Hurley, there's going to be a raise, $150 to $150. So the question, what's that?
Plus the 8.5%.
Plus the 8.5% fuel surcharge. Now the question arises, what do we do about this thing? Do we raise our permit rates again? All right. I know the fact that when we raised our permits, I got a lot of phone calls for raising the permits. And I go, well, where do you live? And they said, we live in Woodstock. I said, go speak to Bill McKenna about opening up his transfer station. His landfill, if you feel that way, more or less.
Well, I think we should raise the resident. Well, you already raised the non-resident quite a bit.
We raised the non-resident.
So
I'm just saying we have to raise something.
Do a small resident, like, I was in the meetings back in the 90s, when we made this transfer station, it has to be self-sustaining. You cannot bill the other taxpayers for this, it has to be self-sustaining, but we love it. So raise it up, you gotta pass on.
That's what we're doing,
Right, you gotta pass it on.
Well, here's the thing, you know, the other option is that, which I don't particularly like, shut it down.
No,
I know.
No,
I'm just saying, there are other towns in the area
Right, so,
that are saying, we're gonna shut ours down. because-
right, and we do more than most, town transfer stations, so people will pay the extra cost. And it's not like anything else that hasn't gone up, I mean, that's.
Well, there's other things we can do, for example, like, town of Ulster, they only have the transfer station 3 days a week. We have a 5 days a
But
week.
who does that harm? It's gonna harm the taxpayers, you know,
And
already.
then how are you gonna staff it?
What's only gonna harm the people that go there?
Right, how would you staff it then, right?
I know that, I know. So anyway, we're sitting here, and we can
So
think about it.
I would just do a small fee up to the residents.
Right now, it's 20 cents per pound. You
No,
know,
but I mean, the permits, we have 1,000 permits.
Yeah.
So we just have to figure out what the
$5 or
end
$10
cost is, and
A
then we'll.
one-time thing.
Well, we raised,
Adjust it accordingly.
out-of-town rents from 60 to 90.
That's what I mean,
We
that's
can't-
that
we
was
can't
a
make-
huge, so I wouldn't do that one again.
We charge $20 per permit.
Right, so
Right,
it's
but
thirty.
let's just do the analysis and figure out
Yes,
what we
we will.
need to raise it.
Well, we're waiting on, for Upwood to give us what the tipping fee's gonna be for that.
And they're gonna increase every year, I mean, you already know it, but what choice do you have? You know,
When's the last time we raised by the ounce?
we would
About 2
raise
years
it a
ago.
couple of times.
Right, so you just have to.
And just, and that just makes.
We'll get it, I'm just,
Do some projection and then we'll figure it out.
And if you raise the prices of the, per pound, then that just is going to encourage people to recycle more, because then you're not gonna have to pay for that.
One of the things that I spoke to with Mike and Deb about is I do believe that there should be a complete audit based on
yeah, oh, yes.
hours worked, what's being brought up there. The numbers that we were receiving were pre and then during COVID. We're still having employees that are based on those numbers, those times.
That's what Greenway did.
And it's a huge change
Yeah, well,
from COVID.
Greenway did that analysis.
Right.
A
I mean, it's
very thorough analysis.
So, I mean, and then that was 2 years ago, no?
That was beginning, no, that was last year.
That was last.
That was June.
24?
June 24.
Yeah.
24. So, I mean, so we'll take those, we'll look at the new numbers that are coming in based on tippings. And then we can come up with kind of a better idea what, where we stand. I mean, maybe it's a combination of increasing the poundage, increasing your permits, maybe doing away with one position, I don't know. But there's, you can't keep raising just because this guy's sitting around and there's no work. So we have to determine those factors. So if there's 3 gentlemen up there, a person's up there working, two are, kind of like cleaning up and one's wherever, maybe there needs to be an adjustment there too.
Yes.
Definitely before you close down, we need to make potentially other
There was
hard
not
decisions.
full-timers
Right.
that's
We had 1 full-timer, 2
But I will
part-time.
say, when I go up there, it's never not busy.
Right, and that's what I mean, so the hours,
Being
maybe
used, you know.
we staff based on the
I
hours.
no, I have no problem doing a study to see what happens.
Okay,
So Greg, maybe I'll sit with you and talk.
Yeah.
all right, the next one, I'll give you
Mike,
the
can I
first
just
one.
ask a quick question? Only because I got called saying I was on the agenda, so I showed up, and I have no idea why I was on the agenda, and now why I'm not on the agenda, so I think I was in D, which is why I'm asking now. Somebody please, should I leave?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on that.
Justice called justice.
But I have no clue why. Nobody asked me or made any.
That's why we took it off.
What?
That's why we removed it.
Well, gee,
But I
I
said,
spent 3 hours with you today, nobody said anything.
Well, we were removed a while ago.
Well, it's not removed online, because that's the only place I checked.
Still online.
So anyway, I am not on your agenda?
You let her be on the draft, next time.
hi Tracy.
Thanks.
By the way, Tracy is our new town justice.
No way.
Yes,
No.
yes, we voted on that one.
Hey, the only jobs I haven't filled are the assessor and the building inspector. That can go on
It
my
might be an open coming
grave.
soon.
There you go. Well, give you something to work for, Tracy.
Greg, see what happens when you leave town for the night?
Hey,
Okay, let's continue. All right, this is Tony worked with Mike Schultes on the box culvert, and there was some issues about the expense on the box culvert. Would you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Mike has been after me to try to find funding to take care of some of these culverts in Hurley that are dilapidated or need repair or replacement. This one is on Neeson Lane, up in West Hurley off Tanglewood Road. So, in late May, I got an email from Mike with an MS4 grant application, which is for non-point source discharges in the town of Hurley. And under that, there was another grant story called the Water Quality Improvement Program. So I looked in there, and I found at the bottom a conductivity grant. And conductivity means connections between streams and under culverts so fish can pass. So I've done this before with the DEC and with also the Ashokan Watershed Program, and they all said that the fish had to be anadromous. In other words, they had to come from the sea or they had to come from a reservoir. This one, the answer was no. You just had to increase fish passage. So you can see from these two slides what that thing looks like underneath with all the rocks that have fallen in. One is the upstream end, one is the downstream end. So this culvert definitely qualifies. So I checked with Dennis Larios because this is a 115-page or 115 question grant. We had to answer 57 questions, and most of them were narratives, paragraph answers, required town engineer input and some input from me as a biologist, because this little creek in West Hurley turned out to be a wild brook trout stream. And they're not endangered, but they're not as common as they used to be. I checked with the DEC in New Paltz, and they said it's a CT stream, so that means it's natural spawning also. So we've got this on our side. And then when we started the application, I asked Dennis how much this was gonna cost, and he did a draft budget for me. This is an $854,000 grant to replace this. And this is not a culvert. If you look at that, you can see that the sidewalls are laid up stone, blue stone, and all of that's collapsing in there. So I don't know what you call it, maybe you call it a tunnel, so it's a tunnel with a roadway on the top of it. Anyway, the state share, if this grant's approved, is gonna be $640,000. The town share would be about $213,000. Mike says he can make up a lot of that with time and activity and equipment rental. That's all qualifies for these matches, for these grants. So that's the story in a nutshell on this grant. I don't know whether we'll get it. I don't think we did a great job on the budget. We didn't put in a lot of stuff that they asked for, but I was provided with that information, and that's what we submitted it. The deadline was July 31st, and we got it in on July 29th. I spent 17 hours on this grant. And Dennis, I don't know what he spent, but he provided most of the technical input for this thing, because it was a major league application. And the bottom line on these kinds of grants is the more the money in these grants, the more the time goes in and the more questions. We're looking at a grant now to do something with the Hurley Water Company. That's what the Environmental Facilities Corporation will be. That will be a big, if we go that route. Any questions from you guys about this whole story?
There was this grant that was sent to us, it's from EFC, $325 million grant. And what we're looking into, what Tony's looking into also, can this grant be utilized to buy Hudson Valley Water Company?
It can be.
Which is District 3 and District 4. And to buy that, this grant will also pay for us to buy that and then do like a $9 million infrastructure rebuild, which is what's necessary. The town would then own it. We can then contract with a water company to do the actual working on all this. This will solve the problem with the Hudson Valley Water Company. Because as Tony and I talk about this, doing this grant like last week, I get a phone call from them, they're out of water. It was a major league game going through there. So this can't go on. And plus the fact also the water infrastructure, this was built in the 1950s. District 3 and District 4, which encompasses either side of 375 and the road. And what it basically was, the lifespan of the asbestos lined pipes is 50 years. We're now into 75 years. When Woodstock bought the other half of this dam, the first thing they did was rebuild the entire infrastructure. The Hudson Valley Water Company right now refuses to rebuild more or less this thing. They are in danger, basically with the water being turned off, shut off, and failing a lot of time water tests coming through. So this is something that I know I don't want to see the town take on another burden of the water district, but we might have to, for the safety of these people living here. So we are looking into it, and Tony's, I engaged Tony to try to see if we can go through this thing. Yeah, so what I have here basically is, I asked Tony to give us a breakdown of all the grants he's done and how many hours he's put into it, so you can see that what work he's doing there. Yeah, I mean, like 17 hours on this grant here. And, yeah, if we get money out of it, that kind of thing, so that's something they're going to, and Tony, when, did they tell us when we will be notified whether we get the grant or not?
December.
And this is not a competitive grant.
Yeah, they're all competitive.
Is it competitive grants?
Every state grant is competitive.
All right, so,
Well, we'll see.
Well, thanks for trying, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we'll see.
What is this for?
there's a question about Tony's rates for what?
well, and this, you know, the,
I
we
mean,
did this,
No,
but we have to do this, but Mike is saying we do it at time, so, we're,
So there's not a problem with the rate, with Tony's time and stuff?
right.
Okay.
There was a question about it. So I had him actually separate all the, put all the grants.
You don't need a vote or anything?
No. Well, it's a part of the voucher that you can see.
Yep. Got it.
Okay, the next thing here is grant for tablets at Town Hall. Again, Tony is looking into a grant, to get tablets here. Now, the thing is though, as you look around here, you see all this paper here? If we get tablets, in other words, we're spending like a ream of paper, you know, doing this whole thing, that if we can get tablets and get like 9 tablets to give to the board members here, to be used here in-house, and then to give them, like, give them to the planning board as well as zoning board. Well, if you like paper, it's one thing, but like, you know, I mean, this is like, you know, we are a climate smart community. So I think, you know, getting these tablets here, it's a grant, only if it's a grant. We're not gonna go out and buy, these things unless it's a.
because I'll tell you, one of my problem with tablets, that people that aren't focused on what's going on, they're looking at their screens, they're not paying
I hear you,
attention to
I
what's
hear
going
you.
on, and so,
I hear
all
you.
different things, when you're in a room full of people looking at their tablets on a meeting, to when you're not looking at a tablet, it's completely different.
I hear, I see that point, but I'm just saying, I'm looking at the amount of reams of paper we use, that's the only thing. Okay.
Mike, let me just comment on that briefly. That grant took me 4.5 hours, it's ready to submit on the
Well,
first.
it's fine, no, that's, I'm just saying,
And we got 10, and they're 13-inch iPad Airs with stylus, keyboard, and a year of Apple Cares.
And we got that, or we
No,
submitted?
we're applying for it, it's a $14,000 grant, and we may be able to get a discount from Staples or Apple.
Oh, it'll be apples.
All right, the next thing here.
I asked some guys what they wanted.
The next thing, okay, next thing here is NICLAS account. This is just, NICLAS is another bank that gives fairly good interest rate, in the sense where we talk about, John and I always talk about this thing, to diversify our funds, not to keep it in one bank, but to keep it in other banks altogether. So, yeah, so we're gonna look at this thing. We invited NICLAS to come in, they did a presentation for us. You were there, right?
No.
You were there, right? You were there. I was there. Right, and so like, we liked his presentation, and, you know, his rates are a little bit higher than what we're getting right now. You know, and the thing is, what's good about that, we can do transfers at any time, and the interest rates grew daily.
like I said, when Mike was supervisor, every day he spent some money.
Yeah.
And he paid a ton of money at the end of the year just by getting the best
So
rate.
we're gonna go through that, look at that and so forth, and come back to that. Okay, the next thing is lithium ion storage facility. All right, I'm gonna leave it up to Debbie. Want to read the letter? I think you should read the letter. This is the letter that was composed to be sent over to the planning board in Ulster County, the planning board of Town of Ulster, as well as the supervisor of Town of Ulster.
Yeah, the planning board and the town board. So, again, this is to the Ulster County, Town of Ulster, Town Board, and Planning Board. As representatives of the Town of Hurley, we write to convey our residents' serious concerns about the proposed 250 megawatt battery storage facility at 430 Hurley Avenue. We recognize the importance of renewable energy and energy storage, but our priority is the safety, health, and environmental protection of all communities potentially affected by this project. proximity to dense residential areas. The proposed site is a narrow strip of land in the town of Ulster, bordered by the town of Hurley and city of Kingston. Where there are a few town of Ulster homes nearby, the location is surrounded by dense residential and community uses, including: 1, town of Hurley, 150 plus homes in Elmendorf Heights, Rolling Meadows, 0.5 miles away. City of Kingston, 100 units in Country Village, 0.2 miles, and 250 plus apartments at Stony Run at the Stockade, 0.3 miles. Community facilities, 2 churches, 1 across the street, 1 adjacent. Schools, J. Watson Bailey Junior High, 900 plus students, and Edson Elementary, 400 plus students, 1 mile away. And Myers Elementary, 200 plus students, 0.9 miles. This 250 megawatt, battery storage facility will be 10 times larger than any other working site in New York State. Again, while we recognize that there is a need for battery storage facilities, placing this facility in the middle of a residential area is irresponsible and an invitation for disaster. Primary risks: potential fire, explosion, or toxic chemical release from lithium-ion batteries. Impacts on first responders from multiple jurisdictions, including training, equipment, and funding needs. Environmental hazards to wetlands, soil, oil, air, and water, including firefighting runoff into the lower Silkus Creek. Structural resilience to snow, flooding, lightning, tornadoes, and earthquakes. These risks extend across multiple boundaries mentioned above. This is a lot to read. No, I got it. Mentioned above, disproportionately affecting Hurley and Kingston residents while providing the benefits to the town of Ulster and the project developers. So our request for action: advance notice, timely written notices of all meetings where this project is on the agenda, sent by both email and regular mail to the town of Hurley clerk at clerkoftownofhurley.org. Attention town clerk and town supervisor. Full environmental review. Compliance with New York State Environmental Quality Review Act seeker with a positive declaration and a preparation of a draft environmental impact statement. Without a positive declaration and a draft EIS, safety and environmental concerns cannot be properly addressed. As interested parties, we wish to participate in the scoping process. Fire safety standards. Adherence to the updated energy storage safety code adopted by New York State on July 25th, 2025, including the updated review and approval process, which has not yet been publicly released. Provide details on how firefighters and EMS will be trained, equipped, and funded to provide critical services which will protect town of Hurley residents. This includes incorporating and maintaining best practices for hazard detection, fire suppression, and cybersecurity. On-site inspection, a formal site visit for town of Hurley officials to assess existing conditions and emergency access. Call for moratorium. We urge the town of Ulster to adopt a 6-month moratorium on this project to allow for 1, independent environmental and health impact assessments, public hearings for all affected communities, consideration of alternative sites and technology. And finally, this project's scale and location demand a level of scrutiny equal to the risks involved. An inclusive, transparent, and thorough review process is the only responsible path forward. This is what our residents and the town of Hurley deserve and expect. Sincerely, and then all board members would sign.
One thing I want to say about this thing, whether we agree or disagree on the efficiency of lithium-ion batteries, it should not be placed in the middle of a residential area. Simple as that. And the thing is, though, what Jen Metzger and Daley Freeman said the exact same thing. That she is for a project like this, but not in the middle of a residential neighborhood. Well, that's what's happening. There is a lot of places you can put this in. There's the I-Park you can put it in. There's a whole industrial park down in Highland, New York, that is equipped to do this process more or less. And by the way, this is not a renewable energy project. No way.
Arbitrage.
This is arbitrage all the way. And believe it or not, the Terrigen is expecting to make $5,000 an hour.
What is the objective here? I don't know anything about this, just briefly.
We don't know.
Buy low, sell high.
What they're doing is, what Terrigen wants to do is, they want to buy electricity at off-peak hours,
And then,
store it, and then sell it back
Explosive.
at peak hours, which is a 2 cents difference in most cases, which therefore 250 megawatts, 250,000 kilowatts, all right, times 2 cents
You know what
is
250 megawatts is? That's a quarter of a Con Ed power plant, which makes 1,000 megawatts.
It's
Down in-
It's huge.
It's huge.
That's a lot of megawatts.
And I remember, we had, it was actually, I sent that to so many people there. There was a Zoom meeting that I attended this afternoon, or yesterday, I should say, about this thing where Keith Obernick talked about the safety of lithium ion plants. I asked him a question. Is it safe enough to put this kind of plant, 250 megawatt plant, in another residential area? His response was, well, I wouldn't. Well, that's what's happening.
How do they generate this electricity?
They don't generate it, they buy it, they store it. What it is on site, nearby site there, which I'm not quite sure it was there, they just put a new substation.
So this is a huge battery, essentially.
They upgraded it, yeah. So, the thing is though, that, again, this is something that, and also the fire code that involves with lithium ion plants is only extended, is added on after the next fire. When the fire comes, they realize what the cause of fire,
It's all
they add it on.
very,
Right, so
and
basically,
it's evolving.
There were fires all over the place. If you look in the news, there were fires, there's no regulation, there's fire all over the place.
Now, you said that people could speak, or they're gonna speak at the second?
at the second, at the second.
Okay.
Okay, at the second, okay? All right, so, we have a resolution, that's a
No,
resolution?
this was just,
This is a, all right,
this was for discussion letter.
Yeah, I have no problem signing.
okay, Greg?
Yeah, no problem, I just, nitpicking,
Yeah, go
let's
ahead.
put 0.5, let's put 0 before the decimal points.
Okay.
Because there's, the
Yep.
last one is 0.9, so
Yep.
it's maybe consistent.
I have to ask you guys a favor then. We're gonna type this up tomorrow, I'd like you guys to come in tomorrow, so sign this so we can send it out.
At what point would the Ulster County Planning Board?
Should be CC.
They should
Yeah.
see, they are gonna be
Yeah.
CC'd on this thing. They're also, we're gonna CC, Jenny Metzger,
Legislative,
all the legislators, right? Including what,
Oh, I just don't want to be nitpicky, but it's Meyer School, not Myers. Just if you want to be,
Meyer, right?
it's Meyer School. We want to see-
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's just Meyer. That was it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rita.
are you the principal?
No.
No, but I worked there for 17 years, so.
All right, the next thing here is Nelson Pope and Voorhees settlement. These are all the waived fees that we gave for, we waived those fees, we gave them, NPV sent us a bill for $6,000. We negotiated down to 25%, so it's $5,100. And the planning board has about $1,500 that they can add to it. So our share is gonna be like $3,800.
Okay, this is all from 2000, before 2025 cents.
Yes. Okay. All right, next thing is, false alarm law.
Okay. Here. Yay. So, I just included in here, I had a request come from, the West Hurley Fire Department, reached out to me, and said, we're having some problems with false alarms. And the issue with the false alarms is, they're all volunteers, so volunteers come in, we go out to the alarm and find out that it's a faulty system, or there's something faulty about the system, or it needs to be repaired. There are various different reasons why we get those false alarms. After so many calls, these people are volunteers, they're getting up in the middle of the night to go out on these calls. Pretty soon, they're not getting up in the middle of the night to go out on the call anymore because they're always a false alarm. So now we run a risk of some real safety issues, as well as the fact that our volunteers now are running to the firehouse, going out, they have a safety issue just getting there and to the scene and back safely. So they asked me to bring this forward just for discussion. This is an example of what the town of Olive just changed their code to, which then basically the incentive is, if we come out, and we come out multiple times and we have a faulty alarm, you need to fix it, and if you're not gonna fix it, then we're gonna start to fine you to basically reimburse for our equipment and all of the supplies and et cetera, et cetera.
I think Woodstock implemented one too.
Woodstock,
Woodstock
Many
did
years
as well.
ago.
Woodstock did it years
Many
ago.
years ago. Yeah, because we get the calls and we know it's the one place that's constantly being called out. We
They're
hear,
taking away.
we hear it all, I mean, every 3-4 times
Yeah.
a night.
And then, you know, we run the risk that there really is a fire someday, and now the volunteers are not getting out.
And that, because you hear them,
Rightfully so, not getting out, so. So I'd like to have us consider, please, to adopt this same kind of thing. We can look at it, anybody has any issues with the wording, you know, we can change the wording a little bit. I believe the assistant chief from West Hurley is gonna come to the next meeting to talk about this a little bit. But I'll put forward a resolution.
And it's gonna be, are we doing all zoning things
Yes.
all at one time?
Yes, one time.
So this
In other
would
words,
be-
yeah, we're gonna see,
This could be.
this is one of them.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we need to start moving on some of them, because some of these are really, you know, we're talking safety issues.
We're talking resources too,
just you have to, with this, with a fire, false alarm, you just have to make sure as well that you do tie it back to what you're allowed to do in terms of fees and how the structure is. So, I mean, Matt and I, or Matt, let me say Matt, but, I mean, it's important that when you put it into place, you also have to tie the enforcement piece in.
Yes.
Because if you don't address it in all of your sections of the code, the judge will actually be forced to deny the fines.
Thank you, Judge.
And that was not coming from
Done
the
on this,
village.
but I
That was
just wanted to
coming
bring
from
it forward.
Okay. All right, the next thing is a letter of support for the Lower Silver Volunteer Stream Management Program. This comes from Sonia, who's doing our NRI grant, coming through it. And this is a work that's being done by Manhattan College and also by Bard College. And they're gonna be monitoring the Lower Silver Creek, which is something that, I think, it's something that needs to be done. So, this is a letter that I'm gonna send out to them, okay?
This is a system DEQ, this is the
Yes. Okay. All right, the next thing is, the SPCA, basically, this is gonna be, for discuss, well, not, we'll do that later. No,
No, we had to change.
you had to change something.
Oh, okay.
We'll come back to that soon. One thing also, we're gonna reschedule the September meeting, it's on Rosh Hashanah, and so we are gonna move it either the Tuesday before or Tuesday after.
Which meeting is this?
This is the later meeting, right?
Yeah, this is the 23rd,
The which, 23rd?
September 23rd.
So we're gonna see, so I'm asking the question, we meet on this September 9th. I'd like to meet on the September 30th.
Rosh Hashanah is,
September 30th.
well, that's followed by,
propose the next week.
The reason I'm saying September 30th, because our next meeting is gonna be the 14th of October, 2 weeks
Oh,
away.
yeah, I see, because it starts like that.
So like,
It's okay by me.
Greg? Okay by you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I could potentially be away, but go ahead and do it, and I'm on my way, I won't be here.
oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, okay, next thing is the,
So September 30th,
September 30th.
are you gonna vote on that?
You need to, no? I don't think so.
If you need to, you can approve it.
Okay, all right, resolutions, all right, these are the resolutions, all right, except for the first one, we already did that one, but these are resolutions we can discuss basically, and we'll vote on it at the next meeting.
The next one, okay.
All right, the first one is the updated SPCA contract.
These are the what?
Right, and the things that Matt Jenkasser gave me, said there's a couple of things here he wants to tweak a little bit, so we're gonna get that going down there also. The approval, the request for, approved request for proposal RFP for 84 Cedar. 84 Cedar is falling down. Not only is it falling down, but it has asbestos shingles.
I thought we had.
We did, but nothing has been done. Nothing has been done, and one whole wall has collapsed in the time being. So, we are gonna have an RFP to have that demolished, and we're gonna add it onto the tax bill.
We can.
Can I have?
Vote for this. We can do this now.
Do you have it? You have the RFP?
I don't see it.
Yeah, it should be
I
right
thought
after.
it was right.
It's here.
My-
Okay.
It's here. With the, are you gonna let the people in the immediate area know when you're demolishing
Yes,
it,
yes, yes,
please?
Of course.
Yes.
And
I had to tell you
there's-
something, yeah.
Yeah, well, I live on the
I know,
street.
but both sides of a house there, interested in buying the house.
Well, I understand, believe me, I know what that house looks like. But, I'm just worried about the asbestos removal.
Yes, yes, it's gonna be done correctly.
It has to be done.
Okay.
It's gonna be done correctly.
No, I'm not questioning that you're not gonna do it correctly, but I just want to know, to have a heads up,
We
so
will-
that
we
I
will
can make sure
notify.
That's when you
I
can
can
go-
leave.
Maybe we'll go on vacation.
Maybe we'll go on vacation, I don't wanna have to
All right.
be, you know,
Gotcha.
Okay,
So, yeah, you can have it.
where is it?
yeah.
It's after that, right after that.
Okay, resolution to authorize the issuance of an RFP for cleanup and demolition of 84 Cedar Street. All right, that's good enough, right?
I'll second.
Okay?
Diana second.
All right,
this is the actual,
Are you correct?
yes.
Yes, we
All
are.
right. I discussion, oh, it's seconded by Diana.
Yep.
All right, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, that's the RFP.
Oh, that's the RFP, okay.
Okay, next one is a request for proposals, A4C did that. Appoint Harold Castellano as an MS4 stormwater officer. What it basically is that, we have to do what's called an MS4, which has to actually, oversee and measure all the outflows from streams to make sure that they're not polluted, make sure that it's clean more or less. We have 58 outflows determined in the town of Hurley, and, for some reason, there's 4 outflows determined in Model Town that we have been assigned to do also. You know, so it's actually 62 outflows that we have to do. We've done basically 75% of them. And we just need 25% more to do this thing. And so Howard Castellano, who has done the MS4 last year, he's done 75% of it. We need another 25% to be done this year to be completed, and then we start over next year again. But again, this is, so my suggestion in this resolution here, which we'll discuss next time, is to give Howard 20 hours a month to go out and do the outfalls.
It's 20 hours per week.
It says per week.
This is 20
This is actually the, I'm sorry, this is the wrong version. It should also say that it's through December 31st of this year.
All right, so let's check.
It-
Oh, no, we're gonna
it's
change
20
that.
hours per
We're
month.
gonna-
We're gonna change that.
And it's 20 hours per month, not week?
It's the 20 hours a month.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Is somebody else in the building department gonna be trained on that to do next year?
Well, according to what the building department is saying to me right now, that they are too busy to have something being done yet. When I spoke to other towns, about this, they hire their own MS4.
Now, did we get any money for doing the MS4?
Well, here's the thing, the county is putting in for a grant to do the MS4, and so we can piggyback off of them, do the MS4, or they can do the whole thing and include us in there. So we've actually sent a letter of support to them in getting this MS4 grant coming through. And by the way, the towns around here are non-compliant. And the thing is, being non-compliant, a fine is $37,100 a day, being non-compliant. And so we have to get this thing moving, so
Can we vote on this?
you want to do it now?
Well, they don't have.
He's not, he won't start
They have
until
to do
Resolutions,
the-
please, Rob.
No, I mean with corrections.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's just,
20 hours per month,
yeah.
charge from like through 12/31/25.
Yes.
It says it would be temporary part-time, after non-competitive, through December 31st.
Well,
At
they-
2025.
Put it in, but that's what we do.
It's only work through, up to
You'll
December.
do it up to the end of the year.
Right. Then, end of the year, we'll decide on what to do follow.
Yeah, so I have no problem voting on this with corrections.
Yes,
Okay, Samantha, you have any corrections?
I got it.
Okay, all right.
Any motion?
I make a motion to vote on this resolution.
All right, a second.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
With correction.
With correction. Next one is authorization to MOU to Minnetonka landfill. Oh, this is a grant, comes out of the DEC, and it's actually, if you go to our landfill, you see those candy canes?
Yeah.
Those candy canes actually will filter out, will release methane gas. These biofilters here will collect them, and in other words, it will actually prevent them from going into the atmosphere. Methane has to be a really nasty greenhouse gas, so this biofilter is meant to capture that, and so, and maybe, well, utilize something else, I'm not sure what we can use all of it for. So this is just a memorandum of understanding to allow that. It doesn't cost the town anything. The only thing is though that I need to get an approval on, that the DEC, which is doing this grant, so they know that this is a Superfund site. So I need to get approval from them to say, this will be okay. Okay,
So this is another thing. You want to just execute a memorandum of understanding?
Yes, that's what I want to do.
So we can vote on this as well?
Yes.
Right.
Fine.
Okay. So are you making a motion?
I'm making a motion to accept the resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Hudson Valley Regional Council for the Mid-Hudson Landfill Biofilters Project.
It's a mouthful, but yes, I second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Gregory?
If you're, I wrote an article in the newsletter a couple of months ago describing this project. If you want to see pictures and more information.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, I guess we're done, I think we're done, huh?
Gonna do public comment before the executive session?
Yes. Okay, I make a motion to open up public comment number 2.
A second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody wish to speak?
Good evening, my name is Charles Dyers. I live actually in the town of, I'm sorry?
Speak louder.
Okay, I live in the town of Ulster. I'm Charles Dyers.
Charles Irish?
Dyers. I was wondering, I've got 2 questions. One was the letter that you have just proposed for the BEST project. Is this the first communication that you've had with the town of Ulster?
No,
No.
Okay,
this is our third communication.
I'm sorry?
This is our third.
Okay. It's from my impression of the meetings that I've attended and what I've read through the applications and what I've read in their minutes, that they are 100% gung-ho going forward with this.
Yes.
They don't care about the citizens of Hurley. They don't care about the citizens of the city of Kingston. They basically said, your voices don't matter. We're going forward with this. Have you discussed and/or are you prepared to oppose this through litigation?
I,
Don't think it's far enough in the process to.
well, it depends, okay, they are right now, they're planning board has declared lead agency, that's the first process.
The town board.
No, planning board.
No.
Planning board declared.
Their town board is the lead agency.
The town board is a lead agency.
All right, they declared that, that's the first process. Now they're going through the seeker, determine whether a positive declaration or a negative declaration. I think once they go through seeker, is then where we then, if we feel that, if they're gonna say a negative declaration, I think then we step in. And that's why I'm challenging that.
Okay.
There's nothing been done yet for us to necessarily challenge.
No, I'm talking about being proactive about it and for you, as far as you guys thinking and looking or planning the next steps.
We moved funds from what was that?
Capital reserve.
From a capital reserve in for consultants in our last meeting, I believe. We moved funds there to proactively be ready to do that.
Okay, good. The one thing that's concerning me is that they keep telling us this is all part of the process, you have to let the process play out, but what they're doing behind closed doors is really not letting a lot of us participate in the process. And I'm afraid that they're gonna go through the process either behind closed doors or in a very short period of time, and it's gonna have them standing there saying, oops, too late, when it comes time to, well, you should have, could have, but you didn't. So that's why, I'm just trying to bring to the attention that you guys really need to be proactive. We're trying our best to do the protests and the flyers and the petitions, but they're not going to listen to people's voices. The only thing I believe that they're going to listen to is litigation. So that's.
You know, I got discussed with Charles. I've been to the town, I've been to Ulster Town Board twice so far, and what I saw at Ulster Town Board was Hurley residents. I didn't see many Ulster residents, or Kingston. I saw Hurley residents.
Yeah.
I think what you need to do is to get your people together also, you know, because we are fighting from the outside, you gotta fight from the inside.
I'm on the very outskirts, the very tip of where the town of Ulster, like I live on 32, so that's the very end, the very back. It's not like out by the malls or out in the developed areas there.
So you're in that strip.
You're in that
of land.
strip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the very back end of it, yeah. Most people are not aware that it's going on, so again, we're trying to doing the things with the signs and the flyers, but getting people motivated and getting out there, it just seems like the majority of people, yeah, that's not good, but they're not angry or motivated enough to get out and do something. And what I fear is even if they do get out and do something, the board is not going to listen to them.
I think to get this, and anything changed here, this SECO report is going to be pivotal, because that's what's going to either trigger a lawsuit. Well, either way it goes, it's going to trigger a lawsuit. Either way it goes. So, but I can't see how they can justify with the risks involved with lithium plants, battery storage facilities, 0.5 miles away from a residential
Well, there's
area.
actually a house 200 feet away from,
It just seems, and of course, that's gonna change the entire landscape. It wasn't zoned for this. It was zoned
but,
for.
no.
That's the problem.
The problem is the zoning in town of Ulster is that an energy utility company, utility can be put anywhere. Anywhere. That's their.
So, yeah, but it's also a part of our town.
Yes.
And our town is not zoned for that. So this is a problem. And we have residents that are going to be severely affected, not only by the placing of the thing there, but the aesthetics of the area, which we have not zoned for or authorized.
Not only that though, the property values on it.
And of course, absolutely, everybody's property values are going to be.
I thought I had to go for a special use permit.
Then,
Part of the property is what you're saying, and part of the property is not.
yeah, but
Right.
according to what I read in their code, that if it's deemed an energy utility structure, it can be placed anywhere, regardless of what the code is.
Right, they may need a permit from the DEC to operate, and also from the Federal Energy Regulatory.
Well, they're, as of right now, it's funny you say that, because I think if there's any one person gonna shut it down, it's gonna be the federal government.
Yep, I
Or they might.
agree.
If they ever do this, it's gonna
It has to
take,
go
I
to,
can
it
tell
has to
you
go
right
to his
now, it's
desk,
gonna
it's
take years.
he's looking at every little thing like that now.
The review process is gonna take.
But the thing is though, Charles, all we're saying here is that you got our support. Do we have your support? You know, do we have your, the town of
Not you
Ulster's
personally.
support?
Town of Ulster.
Not you
Town of
personally,
Ulster.
the town of Ulster.
The majority of the town of Ulster doesn't care
Care.
because it's not them. It's
But-
not them,
They
and
need to
that's,
know, they
that's,
still need to know. They need to be educated by you guys.
Mhm.
Trying to say something.
All right, Julie, do you want to speak?
Thank you.
How can they not know?
And it doesn't affect
Thank
them.
you.
It doesn't affect.
It's not their backyard.
It's not in their backyard, they don't care.
Hi, Jillian Freed. I think just because the zoning says what it does, our town is talking about looking at legal counsel support, and what the lawyer did down in Mahopac Summers, New York, their zoning was written very similar, Caramel's zoning was written very similar to Ulster's, and they challenged that. So I think that although the zoning says what it says, I think that would be probably the lawyer's, their first, if not second job, to go through that zoning and really try to find an angle that they could do. I don't really understand it. I'm sure you all have a much better understanding of it than I do. Two, so you had mentioned that it could go at iPark. I believe in the Zoom meeting that Terrigen did a presentation, I think they said that was too small.
No.
And they said that site was too small for them, and that's probably right, because this is huge. This is the next biggest, best battery energy storage system project under The one that's being proposed for us, which is 250, is only 25. So I don't know, that might very well not have been able to fit there because it's massive. I don't know, I'm not an expert.
12 acres of the 15, I believe.
Right, but I don't think the actual containers are gonna be taking up, the containers aren't gonna be taking up actually 12 of those acres. It's,
When we spoke to supervisor, the issue why it's not an iPark is not because of the size, is too large for that, is a substation there. It's too small.
that too, yeah, that was mentioned too, so.
But I should suggest to them that, the supervisor said to me that it'll be 5 years before a shovel gets into the ground with all the litigation and so forth.
Right.
So I said, okay, how about in that 5 years' time, go build upgrade the substation at iPark then.
Right.
It doesn't take that long.
Right.
To do that kind of thing.
So, and just to piggyback off what Deb was saying, so, the fire safety codes have been updated, and, I know at least 2 of the 4 or 5 of them. So, one of the codes, said that they need to increase signage. Increase signage. So signage outside of the facility, because that will help with an explosion or a fire, right? Increase signage. 2, this one is really concerning to me, is that so the dispatch has to be made within 15 minutes, which as an EMS person, does that seem like a good, reasonable amount of time within 15 minutes? Okay. But the fire and the fire staff have to respond to it. They have 4 hours to get to it. 4 hours. Not an hour, not a half an hour, 4 hours. So in the protocol is to let these very explosive, inflammable lithium-ion batteries burn, because they're not gonna spray it, they're gonna let it burn. That is the protocol, that's what they're being told to do. A lot can happen in a couple hours, right? They also say that these containers don't propagate, right? They are saying that these containers are very safe, that the aerosols and the sprays, whatever is going, their suppressant systems work. It's not the case. I actually spoke to the Warwick fire chief, and they had a best fire down there. I called him, I actually talked to him on the phone, and he said that they had a fire in one of their units, and the suppression system went off exactly as it should have, and the fire still happened. And he said once that fire gets going, that's it. Nothing you can do. I think at Chameau, there was an explosion in one of the units, and then it propagated to 3 others. So something you can also think about too, this is all just last thing, there's a lot of fires going on and explosions with the e-bikes right now. And I'm hearing a lot of the blame is because of faulty batteries, right? They're defective, but I think a lot of it also has to do with human error. Like we're overcharging these batteries, like these batteries should not be getting hot, right? Don't overcharge your batteries. Don't charge your phones overnight. It's a big thing. Don't put them on fabric surfaces. That's what they say. My concern is there's defective batteries all over. There's gonna be 300 trailer-size units full of lithium batteries. You're telling me there's not gonna be one of those that's at least effective? Think about that, right? So there's no guarantee that this is not gonna explode or go on fire. And we're relying on the safety of the units.
So Jill, you have a question.
Yeah.
In the letter that I composed,
Yeah.
is there anything, recommendation from you or anyone on the content? Is there something omitted that we should add?
Does he wanna come
If
up?
you want to finish up, go ahead.
I'm done, but thank you. Thank you for the letter. Thank you for your time.
I want
Yeah.
to add something else.
Yeah.
This Zoom meeting that I was on Monday with Keith Overnick, the question was that the reason why there's no people inside, they call the fence, inside the area there, is because they'll be in danger in case of a fire. In fact, they even said that if we kept, the question was asked by one of the viewers, should you have some person on site there, just in case going on? And the answer is, well, if the fire goes on, he's gone. That kind of thing. And they don't want anybody inside the fence, so if they don't want it inside the fence there, then why the hell are we putting it in a residential area?
And I know something is important with this units is they talk about the spacing between these units. So I tried to do a little research and find out for the battery storage systems that have exploded in New York, like Lyme and East Hampton, I tried to find out how far were these containers spaced apart from each other. I could not find that anywhere. Maybe it's in the fire reports, probably is, but I could not find that. And basically, it's up to the manufacturing company for these containers. They do their own testing. So it's not like a New York State guideline. I think they have like a recommendation of 3 feet or something like that. But if the manufacturing of these containers can actually do them closer together, and that's their recommendation, well, then the developing company can do that as well. So it's very hard to find those specific recommendations. So, but thank you for your letter and your time and everything you're doing, so thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
And also, I have yard signs in my car. They are fully sponsored, so if you want them, come see me after. Okay, come find me.
You got,
Good evening, my name's Steve Bauer, I live at 330 Joyce Lane.
Steve Bauer?
Steve Bauer, B-A-U-E-R. I'm a captain of City of Poughkeepsie Fire Department, for 25 years on. I'd like to see the letter, I don't know if it's been sent yet, kind of give a hard no, we're not okay with this. There's some of the byproducts of lithium-ion fires, which is our main concern. Hydrofluoric acid, which eats skin and bone. Let's see, hydrogen cyanide, which is deadly to us if you're breathing it in. So with a facility of this magnitude, should you have a fire, which lithium-ion batteries are basically a pack of batteries. They're about the size of a AA. I don't know how many of those will be on site. I've done fires with cell phones that have lit kitchens on fire, and that's basically 2. I've done e-bike fires, which is maybe 50. They burn hot, they burn fast. If this catches fire, it's not going out. And I wouldn't send anybody in to fight it. Because they're just gonna
As
kill
a
them.
captain, safety for your people.
100%. I'm sure they're gonna put measures in place, sprinkler systems or whatever, but you're gonna need a tremendous amount of water. We do car fires now, like a Tesla catches fire. The insurance companies are recommending that we get a storage tank full of wood water, set it in there, and leave it in there for a week before we do anything else with that car. Basically, you're gonna end up with Love Canal again, if this catches on fire.
They need to go do some chemistry, some basic chemistry.
It's simple research on the internet will tell you exactly what chemicals are byproducts of a lithium-ion fire. The property values of Hurley's gonna be gone, so it catch on fire.
Or once it's in.
Or once it's in, that's true, because you do have that. You know, and there's no way to, the lithium-ion batteries are self-igniting. Thermal runaway is what causes them. They do not stop unless you separate them and cool them. I don't know if they have any way to do that. We're talking about trailers being put into the facility. How you're gonna separate a trailer that's burning so hot, you're not gonna get guys in there to do it.
You know, the interesting aspect also, what they're saying is, the fire starts there, there's water there to cool down the other trailers so they won't get hot.
Yeah,
But water and lithium do not mix.
They don't, and you're gonna have if you watch videos of just an e-bike fire, the amount of intensity on that fire that's created in such a short amount of time, no one's gonna be able to go in there and do anything. So, you're gonna have level A hazmat suits. I know in the area, maybe the city of Kingston has a couple guys that could do that. I know in the city of Poughkeepsie, we may have like 3 or 4 guys. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. Hurley, I don't know, probably doesn't. And just to get the manpower there. But I wouldn't send anybody there anyway. I tell them stage 2 miles away. I'm not gonna kill anybody for that.
Well,
And residents are closer than that.
We have
Sure.
residents like 200 feet away.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter, I mean, you're still gonna have it all of, well, anywhere around there, 5 miles. I mean, including the city of Kingston is gonna be a disaster area. So, I'd like to see a hard no, and then also in that letter, what we're concerned about, just the byproducts of a fire, or leakage, or anything like that. So, and I'm sure that
I agree with
we
that.
could get litigation together or money to the citizens to start some sort of grassroots thing to help with that.
You know, it's interesting, at the Zoom meeting I've listened to, he wasn't talking about if a fire occurs. He says when a fire occurs.
They're more and more frequent all the time. People, I don't know what the aspect there, but even like house fires here, people plug in their outlets, their charging stations into, or use the wrong cord, everything charges differently. It gets hot, it's a defective battery, and you have a problem. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, anybody else wish to speak? You can't speak.
I don't actually have, do I have to stand there?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Come on.
I would recommend in response to the MS4.
Who are you again?
Good afternoon, your board. Anyway, so MS4, I don't understand the implication in the statement about the 4 locations in Marbletown because we just went through it. We were audited and we had to go through a substantial process and I had some very detailed knowledge, but if you're going to be doing this, I would recommend that you work and reach out to Peak Engineering.
Yes.
Because Nadine just went through the whole thing of developing the plan for Marbletown.
Yeah, let me just go back there. We have Bernino Larios do the same thing. They did the MS4 also. The only problem is, they spent about a weekend doing it, and the cost of the town was $4,000.
No, I understand. It's not cheap, but I'm just saying, I'm not talking about going out and testing those locations, but at the same time, you also have to, in order to comply, there's substantial reporting and a plan that you have to have accessible and out and available.
So we know that.
Okay, cool.
We have everything down like that, yes. In fact, you sent us the MS4 requirements. You gave
What, right, I did.
Right, so that's what we're using, your requirements. So thank you again for,
All my service.
your name is?
T-R-A-C-Y, there's no E, and please, when you spell Kellogg, there are 2 G's. It's just like Tony the Tiger.
Thank
And
you.
if somebody wants to tell me why I was on the agenda, I would greatly appreciate it.
For this very reason, that's why you're here.
Just because you like seeing me.
I'll tell you why, I'll tell you.
Mayor Carey, Glenford, I would like to request at a future date that we could receive an update on what Greenway Environmental is still doing and if the composting program is moving ahead at the landfill. And my second request is to ask if the town of Hurley would sponsor a paper shredding day, as it has in the past, and it's very popular. And I have a ton of paper I want to shred, so I'd rather come to the town of Hurley than anywhere else.
We did that shredding a few years ago, I think it was, and it was not, we spent more money than, not many people came and utilized the service at that point. We did.
I checked, it's gonna be about,
It's about $1,500. Yeah, I know, I've done it.
So,
In past years, I got it donated, let me see what I can do.
Meg,
yes,
we're waiting, Greenway is waiting for some oil tanks.
Yeah, I was gonna clarify. What it is basically is, there's 2 things going on there. All right, we have a couple oil tanks that are in the transfer station that we were violated on. It turns out that those oil tanks have not been registered since 2000. All right, we have to register them, and it's being done right now. We just emptied them the other day, and we cleaned out the container they were sitting in, and so we're waiting for DEC to give us the approval to now move them. Once that is moved, the violations will then stop, or will be finished, and then we can start working with the composting. Now, the problem with the composting is that where the composting facility is going to be, it's still on a Superfund site. So we need clearance from DEC to allow us to do this thing. When Shabazz went, he went to the wrong agency. He went to a materials agency of the DEC. That's come from the chief engineer in New Paltz. He oversees the whole thing. And once the tanks are taken out, I will then go to Dave Holly, the chief engineer, and say, can we now do the compost? We have a $90,000 grant that we got for the food scraps, basically, that we are waiting on for approval from the DEC to say, go ahead. So once we get those tanks out, That's one step closer.
Great, well, that's very good to hear that things are moving along. Just want to say that their backyard composting with the black composters that they gave people, I would say they're amazing. I mean, they're actually too hot to touch on some of these sunny days, and they're creating compost like in an amazing way. I mean, we've always had a compost pile, but never what Shabazz have set up for us, and it's really outstanding.
I gotta tell you, my bear loves a compost pile.
Pardon?
My bear,
Oh,
he knocks it down all the time.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know. I had to put it in a cage around it as a kid.
But it should,
But it's not working right.
it's not working right.
It's not working right.
No.
Any other people want to speak? All right, basically right now, we're closing. Yeah, we opened it. Make a motion to close public comment number 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, next thing, we're gonna go to executive session. Public Offices Law, Section 105, the medical, financial credit of foreign district, particular person or corporation. Matters into the appointment, involves employment, employee, and also involves this.
Am I getting invited in or not? I wasn't sure whether this was something.
I make a motion to open executive session.
Yes, second.
I only have 20. All in favor?